What differentiates a conscious, centered being from a person who is not so conscious is simply the focus of their awareness. It's not a difference in the consciousness itself. All consciousness is the same. Just as all light from the sun is the same, all awareness is the same. Consciousness is neither pure nor impure. It has no qualities. It's just there, aware that it's aware. The difference is that when your consciousness is not centered within, it becomes totally focused on the objects of consciousness. When you're a centered being, however, your consciousness is always aware of being conscious. Your awareness of being is independent of the inner and outer objects you happen to be aware of. If you really want to understand this difference, you must begin by realizing that consciousness can focus on anything. That being the case, what if consciousness were to focus on itself? When that happens, instead of being aware of your thoughts, you're aware that you're aware of your thoughts. You've turned the light of consciousness back onto itself. You're always contemplating something, but this time you're contemplating the source of consciousness. This is true meditation. True meditation is beyond the act of simple one-pointed concentration. For the deepest meditation, you must not only have the ability to focus your consciousness completely on one object, you must also have the ability to make awareness itself be that object. In the highest state, the focus of consciousness is turned back to the self. When you contemplate the nature of self, you are meditating. That is why meditation is the highest state. It is a return to the root of your being, the simple awareness of being aware. Once you become conscious of consciousness itself, you attain a totally different state. You are now aware of who you are. You've become an awakened being. It's really the most natural thing in the world. Here I am. Here I always was. It's like you've been on the couch watching TV, but you were so totally immersed in the show that you forgot where you were. Someone shook you, and now you're back to the awareness that you're sitting on the couch watching TV. Nothing else changed. You simply stopped projecting your sense of self onto that particular object of consciousness. You woke up. That is spirituality. That's the nature of self. That is who you are. As you pull back into the consciousness, the world ceases to be a problem. It's just something you're watching. It keeps changing, but there's no sense of that being a problem. The more you're willing to just let the world be something you're aware of, the more it will let you be who you are. The awareness, the self, the Atman, the soul. You realize that you're not who you thought you were. You're not even a human being. You just happen to be watching one. You'll begin to have deep experiences within your own center of consciousness. These will be deep, intuitive experiences of the true nature of self. You'll find that you are tremendously expansive. When you start to explore consciousness instead of form, you realize that your consciousness only appears to be small and limited because you're focusing on small and limited objects. That's exactly what happens when you're focusing solely on the TV. There's nothing else in your world. If you pull back, however, you can see the whole room, including the TV. Likewise, instead of just focusing so intently on this one human being's thoughts, emotions, and sensory world, you can pull back and see everything. You can move from finite to the infinite. Isn't this what they've been trying to tell us? Christ, Buddha, and the great saints and sages of all time and all religions. One of these great saints, Ramana Maharshi, used to ask, "Who am I?" We see now that this is a very deep question. Ask it ceaselessly, constantly. Ask it and you will notice that you are the answer. There is no intellectual answer. You are the answer. Be the answer, and everything will change. Part 2. Experiencing Energy. Chapter 5. Infinite Energy. Consciousness is one of the great mysteries in life. Inner energy is another. It's actually a shame how little attention the Western world pays to the laws of inner energy. We study the energy outside and give great value to energy resources, but we ignore the energy within. People go about their lives thinking, feeling, and acting without the understanding of what makes these activities take place. The truth is, every movement of your body, every emotion you have, and every thought that passes through your mind is an expenditure of energy. For example, if you concentrate on a thought and another thought interferes, you will have to assert an opposing force to fight the interfering thought. That requires energy, and it can wear you out. Likewise, if you have a thought that you're trying to hold in your mind, but it keeps drifting off, you have to willfully concentrate to bring it back. When you do this, you're actually sending more energy to the thought in order to hold it to a given place. You also assert energy to deal with your emotions. If you have an emotion you don't like and it's interfering with what you're doing, you just push it aside. You do this all.
I have friends. I definitely have friends. No one can say that I do not have friends. I have friends. I definitely have friends. I have friends. I definitely have friends. No one can say that I do not have friends. I have friends. I definitely have friends. I have friends. I have friends. I definitely.
If no one sees you as an enemy, it means you're not important enough. If no one sees you as a threat, it means you're not strong enough. If no one talks behind your back, it means you're not outstanding enough. If someone is taking advantage of you, it means you have value.
Who let Gen X off the hook? Why aren't we talking shit about those guys?
Because, sir, we will fuck you up. We fought in real life, not on the internet. We are the last generation of feral children. We didn't have safe spaces. We didn't have church.
Is this the place that I've been dreaming of?
aforementioned person with the no government in place who actually tasks out, I guess, the police and all the authorities, actually tasks out attacking me. Me! Look at me, I'm adorable. Do I look like a threat to national security? I ask you. Do I look like a foreign enemy of the state who must be treated akin to... come on. It's me. 30 years military. 30 years working in the defense security industry, cybersecurity. Just because I'm cute should not be held against me. I know you think you underestimate me. However, just because you underestimated, misjudged, and misperceived who I was, how smart I was, and basically that I can do everything that all of you cannot together, is no reason to attack me, to take over my life again for the second time. Right? Let's have a vote. Hands? Free Morgan.
Look at me. Look at me.
Honestly, I don't know who the fuck to trust. Is he my friend or my foe? I'm a exit draw. Yeah, she give me that maybe
Am I dreaming? No, I'm living in my dream.
The thing is, you're not a maybe. You're not a second choice. You're not an option. You're not a when it's convenient, and you're definitely not a wait and see. You're an absolute yes. Don't ever be okay with being treated anything less than that.
So let me spell